Horizon Home Studio Reaction. This is everything you need to know about America's next stealth fighter, NG-80. Obviously, this is kind of like a bit old video, but somebody commented I should check this out because apparently I haven't. And with China's current, let's just say sixth generation, why not? fifth, sixth, or whatever, right? The newer plane. I mean, you can't really knock off China because China, with everything going on, like it seems like they're catching on pretty fast. But is it going to be like equivalent to like America's answer, like F-35 or something? I highly doubt that. You can't just jump the gun like that because their J-35 was not even close to being good at F-35, F-22. So this is about NG-80, which is put on stealth, but it's not really cancelled because it's like a lot of shit has already been done. They were like showcasing everything, so it's like temporary in the back burner type of thing. Because I think they probably thought maybe we need to, like, with everything going on with the China and things, we need to like achieve even higher than what they planned. This is my guess, because there's no other reason to put it on shelf, because they're already going with like what is block 4 with F-35, which essentially will make F-35 next generation. B-21 is next generation. They're making B-21 a fighter jet apparently, which can do air-to-air combat and everything, which is okay. It's weird, but apparently it can do it. And it doesn't, it's not some weird thing, because like you don't need maneuverability, because that's not the modern warfare. So you don't need to worry about, like, that what is it, V-wing in the back, right? That's the problem with the bombers. It doesn't have that. Maybe you're not going to need that, so it makes sense. So let's see. This is like a few months old. It's not that old, so I'm pretty sure the information is going to be up to date. So let's go. It's fun.
The U.S. Air Force intends to spend about $30 billion over the next 5 years fielding a replacement for the F-22 Raptor and a fleet of AI-enabled drone wingmen to fly alongside it. Now, this effort, known as the Next Generation Air Dominance Program, has been underway in one form or another since around 2014, when Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall commissioned a secret study known as the Dominance Initiative. Now, DARPA came back about a year later with conclusions from that study, highlighting how not only could the U.S. field a new fighter that was significantly more capable than even the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, but in doing so, modern technology would allow them to field this new fighter as a family of systems rather than as a single platform. Now, what that means is that this new aircraft is designed to fly at the center of a constellation of AI-enabled drones.
Yeah, there are two versions of it, right? Like there's another version of Air Force, or was it Navy, whatever, right? There are two versions of it. One version is not like put on shelf. It's gonna be a thing, right? It's the other one that is classified NG-80 is the put on shelf, but others which is similar of that, which is not named NG-80, is like it's still happening. So it's like a different type of thing, right? It's gonna be like a hive mind mentality, which F-35 kinda already is. There's gonna be even more with the drones and things.
Making every single crewed fighter into an entire formation unto itself. Now, that Dominance Initiative report we now know led directly into a classified billion-dollar X-plane program that by 2020 had produced at least one flying technology demonstrator that had already broken some sort of record, though what record it broke, we still don't know. I suspect it might have something to do with altitude. Since then, it's been reported that there may be as many as 3 flying technology demonstrators related to this program, though today, there are only 2 firms competing for the contract. Last year, Northrop Grumman bowed out of the effort, leaving it a race between Lockheed Martin and Boeing, who is currently suffering their fair share of political turmoil, arguably making this Lockheed Martin's race to lose. Now, this new fighter is expected to deliver a similar leap in capability over today's most advanced 5th-generation fighters, the same way the F-22 Raptor did back in the 1990s over 4th-gen jets like the F-15 and F-16. Though what exactly makes it so capable has not exactly been disclosed, aside from those AI-enabled drone wingmen.
What the hell was that? I thought like it's my issue, but no, the audio cut out in the video apparently.
ultimately means is that this new generation of stealth fighters would be significantly more difficult to detect and track than even today's stealth fighters, leaning further into the stealth bomber approach to minimizing radar detectability. Now, the Air Force intends to award a contract for this new NGAD fighter this year, with the ultimate intent of getting the first jets into service by the close of this decade. And just a few weeks ago, the Air Force awarded Phase
Yeah, the problem with the radar cross-section thing, I think, you know what, they need to develop some other technology. I don't know, detecting photons, I don't know, using some kind of like a quantum technology to detect shit. Because at this rate, all this like F-35 is insanely small cross radar section, right? NGAD is going to be even smaller than that. Like, can you detect anything at that point? I mean, obviously people argue, yeah, you can detect anything eventually, but what's the point of eventually? If you can't detect it, like at the right time, if you detect it later, like what's the point of that? What is that for? Documentation? Job already done.
One contracts to General Atomics and Anduril to continue development and testing on their AI-enabled drone wingmen. Though the Air Force has been clear that they may award Phase 2 contracts to other firms to keep multiple efforts underway. Ultimately, the Air Force intends to purchase at least 1,000 of these AI-enabled wingmen, known collectively as Collaborative Combat Aircraft, or CCAs, with the goal of fielding at least 2 drone wingmen for each of 300 new Block 4 F-35s, and another 2 each for at least 200 new next-generation air dominance, or NGAD fighters. These drones will not only be able to engage targets on behalf of the crewed fighter, but they'll be able to extend sensor reach, conduct electronic warfare operations, and more. Now, the Air Force wants these drones in service by 2028, and again, the NGAD fighter in service by 2030. And there are similar follow-on efforts underway for the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Marine Corps, at least in terms of drones. The Navy is developing its own
Obviously, around this time, the information wasn't out. I'm guessing that NGAD is put on shelf. So maybe they're going with F-35 Block 4 as like a complete list, right? All these drones for F-35 Block 4. And NGAD is going to be like in the future thing. Which kind of makes sense, because if F-35 Block 4 is literally similar to NGAD or NGAD's plan, why make NGAD now? Like, let's make it better and then post it out. And when it comes to like China, it makes sense. For past decade or so, US has been talking about this 6th generation planes with like drone technology, right? F-35 was kind of was doing that already, right? With the HiveMind, like I said, technology and shit, with the radar and things. So China probably jumped the gun. Holy shit, we need to make it. Drone supported planes, and they just did it. I'm not saying it's not good, but I highly doubt it's going to be better than America's, because America already has a history of it. You can't just make something better than them. That's just how it works.
Generation fighter called FA-XX, born out of the very same Next Generation Air Dominance X-plane program, though the Navy's been clear that they will field their own fighter design that will likely share modular systems in common with the Air Force fighter. And the same can be said for the Navy's forthcoming CCA drones and the CCA drones in development for the U.S. Marine Corps. They will be different designs that will again share modular systems in common across the fleet. And what this ultimately means is that while the F-22 Raptor is amid a significant upgrade that will make it an absolute powerhouse for years to come, its reign as the king of the skies is very likely coming to a close. And we may just get a glimpse at the heir to the throne any day now when contracts are awarded.
Yep, there you go. See, that's the thing. If NGAD becomes a thing, nobody's going to use that. America's not going to use that. It's going to be their flagship plane. So F-22s are going to be like the thing that they use now. That's how it works, right? Like even when B-2 bomber was a thing, they were still using like Nighthawks and things to do mission, because why use B-2 bomber? It's costly and it's like latest technology. So when NGAD becomes a thing, F-22 is going to be free up. Like, okay, it's no longer the best, so fuck it, let's use that. That's going to be a day we'll see F-22 in action and see how badass it is. Because people are like, F-22 is not that great, and this, why? Because it's never seen action. Now you can see an action, right? So that's going to be awesome. And yeah, the Navy version is already like underway, going, like it's not put on shelf. So we'll see like what NGAD program is supposed to be, right? Yeah, the technology wise, the future, military future is great. But it always goes hand in hand. Like the reason why it's going great is because there's probably threat in the future. We already see wars popping up. So yeah, technology is going to be great, but use of it is going to like, okay. But I guess you have to defend yourself. Like, what you gonna do? If bad elements rises, you have to defend yourself. So it is what it is. Right, well, that was everything you need to know about America's next stealth planes and GAD and others. If you like my Rick, so don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.